always kept it straight. This is not for y'all. This is not for the money. This is for me. While y'all thinking that I'm just doing it for the money, I believe that I can win.
Terence Crawford has finally answered Errol Spence's call for a rematch of their 2023 undisputed fight scheduled for next year. Crawford is now the biggest name in boxing, and Spence is clearly trying to use that momentum by asking for a rematch at the super middleweight division.
I gave up a lot of stuff, but my main objective was to make the fight happen by any means. Even though my people wanted to, after a while, they wanted to walk away from the fight. Out of just all that outrageous demands, and then when you meet his demands, then he moves the goalpost. Yeah, he's nice as hell, but I'm at the point in my career, the money right, I'll fight anybody. So.
Interestingly, Crawford isn't rejecting him. In an interview yesterday, the new undisputed super middleweight champion was asked about Spence's challenge, and he welcomed the idea. If he can come up to 168, I'm in. I don't mind fighting him. I've still got a few fights left, Crawford said.
And like I said before, that's my obligation in the contract, and I gotta honor that. If that's the next move for me in my career.
But that burning desire not to lose, where does that come from? That competitive spirit?
And it's just something in all the greats. If you look at all the greats in any sport, they always was hungry to be the best. They wanted to prove that they was the best. They wanted to show the world and show everybody that.
Errol Spence Jr. wants the fight at super middleweight because he feels he's had a long enough break and gained plenty of weight during his time off. He now believes he's big and strong enough to face Crawford. I want Crawford next at 168. That's the fight I want. We have a contract and it's still valid, he said.
Without him, really wanting to fight and putting forth the effort into doing what he can do along with me to get this fight done, we wouldn't be fighting. So it's only right that I give him that same,
It's the ideal rematch for both fighters now that Terence Crawford holds the undisputed super middleweight titles after his big win over Canelo Alvarez on September 13th. That victory instantly became the biggest of his career, even bigger than his win against Errol Spence Jr. 2 years ago. That's why Spence is pushing for a rematch.
He said the Jose Benavidez fight was probably the toughest fight of his career, and I think you said back in the day you had your way with him in sparring. Is there anything to take away from that, or that you take away from it?
Nah, not at all. I mean, it was a good fight. Fought a one-legged Jose Benavidez, and it was the toughest fight of his career. It says a lot.
What does it say?
Interestingly, after their rematch was canceled last year, talks restarted months later. Crawford even gave interviews saying he was open to fighting Spence again. At that time, it seemed like a more likely option than fighting Canelo Alvarez until Crawford changed his plans. This is what drove Spence to call him out on social media. Still, many boxing fans think their first fight wasn't close enough for a rematch and believe Spence just wants another big payday.
I'm walking over my feet. I want to get out the game. I got kids, got a mom and dad, and they want to enjoy me. So
Harold needs the money. Guys, why would anyone want to fight a man who nearly destroyed him in the ring? It was a 50-50 fight before, but now it's 90-10 and you think you have a chance? Your first fight back after being beaten badly 2 years ago and you want to go through that again? Some fans have been ruthless online, telling Spence not to step back into the ring with Crawford, not even after a 2-month break. They say he's asking for something worse than the car crash he survived years ago. People are saying he's looking for another crash from a punch and another eye surgery. This isn't the best way to end your career, bro. Just take a tune-up fight first and come back. You're good, no doubt, but Crawford is too dangerous right now. Another fan said, Errol hasn't learned from Timu. The guy came out of a brutal fight against Fondora, fought injured for 8 rounds, lost, and then took on another big challenge that ruined him. This is even worse for Spence. Crawford will destroy him.
definitely, it was exciting. The whole build up to it and leading up to it too. So it's something that I wouldn't change for nothing. And I'm definitely open to the rematch, and hopefully it'll be at 154 pounds.
I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. You know, like everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. You know.
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
Right now? No, how?
Yeah, he's right, dude. He's right.
How? You know, like he fought in one division. You know,
never unified the belts.
He.
Some fans think Spence should leave PBC, saying the company isn't what it used to be and no longer supports top boxing talent. That's why so many of his planned fights fall apart during contract talks. Leave PBC, bro. It's not the same anymore. Work with Turkey and get good fights, one comment read. And don't go near Crawford. That man will tear you apart. Crawford raised Spence's hopes when he fought Madrimov. But maybe he should have just ignored him instead.
You know, he unified. He had 3. Yeah, the WBC,
he didn't unify all 4.
WBA,
He wasn't undisputed.
Huh?
He wasn't undisputed.
He wasn't. No, but what I'm saying is, they already called him a weight bully, right? He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. You know, he beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
Like I said,
I mean, it could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford wanna challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. You know, so you know what I'm saying. I'm with it. So you know, I'll be going for Bud. You know.
Their first contract included a rematch clause, so Crawford believed there was unfinished business with Spence. Since he dominated the first fight, Crawford would enter the rematch as a clear favorite. The only real question is whether Spence would look different fighting at 154 pounds. Both men struggled with the weight cut in their first fight, but Spence seemed to suffer more, both at the weigh-in and in the ring.
You know what I mean? That's a good win. Like, I don't wanna sound like I'm hating on him or, you know,
I understand
things like that, but I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades.
After Crawford's stoppage win over Spence in 2023 under his PBC deal, a rematch was expected. But months passed without any official announcement. Reporter Mike Coppinger later revealed that Spence had cataract surgery after the fight, which caused the rematch clause to expire. That left Crawford free to choose any fight he wanted without being tied to a promoter or network. Crawford was aiming for a bout with Canelo Alvarez, but Canelo wasn't interested, saying there was nothing in it for him.
I would never want to fight him coming off an accident like that. Because when I beat him, then y'all gonna say, I know it's because of the accident. We fight. He beat Danny Garcia. I was in the crowd. I said, he can't be. That's the first time I seen Spence fight live. I said,
so you knew then when you seen that?
I'm like, look here, because you know it's different on TV than when you watching it up close in person.
Former unified welterweight champion Errol Spence Jr. now sits in boxing limbo. He hasn't officially retired, but there are no signs of a comeback either. After nearly 2 years out of the ring, fans are questioning whether The Truth will ever fight again. Not long ago, he was considered one of the best fighters alive, undefeated, powerful, and popular. But that was before Terence Crawford. When they finally met, many thought it was a 50-50 fight. The bell rang, and from that moment, everything went downhill for Spence.
If you fight Canelo, I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he's gonna win or lose, but I definitely be going for Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. He's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and all that, and fought Kovalev and fought the other guy too. So I mean, if he can do it, and he started at 147. So I mean, if he's doing it.
Terence Crawford completely dominated Errol Spence in their long-awaited unification fight, becoming the first undisputed welterweight champion in nearly 40 years and proving he might be the best fighter on earth. Crawford knocked Spence down in the second round and twice more in the seventh, before the referee stopped it in the ninth. The sold-out T-Mobile Arena crowd of nearly 20,000 fans wouldn't have complained if the fight had ended even earlier.
Have a fish fry come Saturday. Man, you gotta calm down, brother. Cause listen, man, things can get real sticky real quick, and then everybody would say, this is what we do every time we come out. This is what we do when we come out. social media.
The matchup between two undefeated American stars was 5 years in the making and billed as the biggest fight boxing could offer. But after an even first round, Crawford took full control. The 35-year-old Nebraskan delivered a masterclass of power, precision, and control that made an elite opponent look ordinary. Crawford, a former champion at 135 and 140 pounds, entered the fight as a slight favorite and left as the first man since 1986 to hold all major welterweight titles, a feat last achieved by Lloyd Honeyghan when he beat Donald Curry.
Got the confidence to come out there and just be like, okay, well, even the skills to say, all right, let me see how you gonna take a punch to the chin. Let me see how you gonna take a punch to the body. Let me see how you gonna react when you can't bully somebody around. Okay, so my mind was, you know what I mean, you know, it was racing a little bit. And I was like, man, how should I come out? And it was like, man, just come out boxing.
Crawford clearly proved he was the better fighter, dominating Spence until the referee mercifully stopped it in the 9th round. After that, Crawford reigned as undisputed welterweight champion before moving up to junior middleweight. Now it looks like he might face Canelo Alvarez in an unusual but exciting super fight. As for Spence, the friendly Texan hasn't been in the ring since that crushing 2023 defeat. The real question now isn't when he'll return, but if he ever will.
Listen, just like you talking, just like you doing all that talking, bro, it can turn deadly real quick, but on both sides. So why not support? Listen. Why not support your fighter? Support your fighter.
It's been nearly 2 years now, and Spence is 35. Not too old, but not young either. A comeback would still draw plenty of attention and big money. There are potential opponents like Keith Thurman or Tim Tszyu waiting, but to face them, Spence has to return officially. He'll likely take a tune-up fight first, which would make sense. And if he decides to retire instead, that's fine too. Whatever his choice, Spence shouldn't be criticized.
Along my career, I've been criticized, and people have took the credit away from me just to try to finish my accomplishments, just off of pure hate. So, what would they be able to say when we going to two-way classes?
People say, oh, well, maybe it was the weight or whatever the case is. What do you think about that? Like, talking about the weight at 154.
I wasn't worried about that. I felt stronger than him. You know, I felt that I punched harder than him. I felt as if I hurt him.
Boxing is a brutal and dangerous sport, and Spence took a severe beating from Crawford. His earlier wars against fighters like Kell Brook also took a toll. Add to that the horrific car accident he once survived, and it's clear Spence has endured a lot. Still, he's a fighter at heart, and fighters always find their way back. If his health allows, it would be great to see him return to the ring.
In the fight, but I just felt like, you know, he came prepared and he was ready and he felt like a fighter. He was awkward, he was patient, he was determined, he stuck to his game plan, and he did what he had to do.
Errol Spence recently admitted on social media that the worst mistake of his career was drinking. "Worst thing I did to myself was drinking," he wrote. If you're an athlete, focus on your goals. I hope others learn from this. Gervonta Davis reacted to his post before his own fight with Lamont Roach. Despite his loss to Crawford, Spence's career has been impressive. Still, his last few performances drew criticism, and some fans claimed he was washed. Spence fired back on X, saying, "Some of y'all use washed too loosely. Post your mom so you can see what washed really is."
A lot of people say, oh, well, he's money hungry, he's looking at money, and he's trying to cash out, and this and that. I've been getting money for years. I've been getting money for years. And I'm not stupid with my money. As you can see, I don't buy no Ferrari, Lamborghini. You know, when you walk around with 100 people around you, got all this jewelry on.
Before losing to Terence Crawford, Spence was the unified welterweight champion, holding the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles from 2017 to 2023. Now 34, he hasn't fought in nearly 2 years, but fans still expect a big-name return. Meanwhile, Crawford, now a two-division undisputed champion, sparked controversy with his recent comments about Spence. Their 2023 fight was one-sided, with Crawford completely dominating. Spence had a rematch clause but chose not to use it, leaving fans wondering if he'll ever step back into the ring again.